Okay, thank you. So I want to ask you about the round one tender. So when you awarded the tender, so this was a judgment by the board, wasn't it? The board decided which organisations would get funding?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you're on the board, aren't you, Mr Langford?
No, Senator, I'm
You
not a
report
board
to the
member.
board, but you would have been part of that deliberation, I imagine, as the CEO?
For round one, I was not employed by Housing Australia, Senator.
Okay, but you would be for future rounds?
Yes, Senator.
Okay. So when the HAF allocates funds to housing projects, does it allocate on the basis that it is fully funding a project, or is it providing a proportion?
So, Senator, the HAF has two funding mechanisms that we can use to support a project.
Yeah.
One of which is a concessional loan,
Yeah.
which is a part of the upfront capital cost of delivering the home.
Yeah.
And then the other is an annual availability payment, which is committed to the project over the course of 25 years.
Okay, so I assume the availability payments is the reason that some of these dwellings, as proposed, look very expensive. Is that right?
Well, Senator, I'm not sure what you're referring to when you...
Well, I'll give you some examples. So the average cost to build a new house, as you know, is about $500,000. Some of these dwellings, like you're building some in Geelong, they're going to cost $1.3 million each. That's no reflection on Geelong being home to a great football team, of course.
Beg to differ, Senator.
Well, I'm sure. $1 million in Canary. You've got $1 million in Shepparton. You've got other places around Melbourne, Sydney, costing $880,000 a pop. So is the reason that these are so much more than the average cost of a new build because of the folding in of the availability payments?
So, Senator, when you're referring to the costings there, I think what you're looking at is the total nominal value of the availability payment over 25 years.
That's right.
One of my colleagues from Treasury will be able to speak to what that represents in terms of present value. But what I would say is that the availability payment is funding a number of elements of the provision of social housing over that 25 years. So it goes to some of the cost of the capital cost of providing the house.
Yep.
It helps to cover some of the costs of operating the property, tenancy management and support that might be folded in. And there are a range of projects in round one that have different service models attached to them that in round one were judged to be meritorious in context of providing for a specific cohort. So I think, for example, you mentioned the Kirinari project.
Yeah.
I understand, my recollection is that particular project is providing a large property for Aboriginal families with a particular support model attached to it.
So let's go to this one in Shepparton, because that's $1 million, and that's about double the price that it costs to build an average house.
Of course, Senator, you need land as well as the cost of building.
So you're paying for land as well, are you?
Well, it's the cost of the provision of housing, Senator. Which,
but this one's going to Catholic Care, so they don't already own the land?
I don't have the details of the project in front of me, Senator,
Okay.
but in many instances, community housing providers, faith-based groups have brought land.
They already have land, usually, and they usually don't pay any tax, which is why they're actually not a bad idea in terms of this kind of space. It just depends on how you do it. So then what proportion would be going to these availability payments?
Sorry, Senator, I don't actually understand the question you're asking. When you say what proportion...
So in this case where it's $1 million per house, right? Double the average cost of a new house.
Also, sorry, Senator, the example you're giving, you're saying the total nominal value of the funding over 25 years.
This is your data.
Yeah.
Your data.
We're not saying it's the cost.
I'll tell you. You're saying you're going to give Catholic Care Victoria $43 million of taxpayer funds to build 41 houses, which is a cost of about a bit over $1 million per house.
Senator, I really have to correct.
So can I just finish my question before you intercede? So the question is, in that example, how much of that money actually goes to availability payments?
Senator, I'm going to intervene at this point and just correct the record. If I say to you, let's go out and build a house, and the cost will be X, we don't normally think about what's the cost of maintaining that house for 25 years, replacing the air conditioning unit in 10 years, making sure that the screen door is fixed in 15 years.
I understand that. That's why I'm asking for the breakdown.
But just stop interrupting and let them answer, and then you might understand a little bit more.
So it really is it's quite an uncomfortably unreasonable comparison between like an apple and orange to do this thing of saying, well, I can build a house for $600,000. Why is this house costing $1 million? It's just comparing two completely different
So what's the
things.
breakdown?
Senator, what we can tell you is that the average total development cost for a home that's funded under HAF is $690,000.
So it's an extra $200,000.
So of that, no, it's less than that.
Just wait and let him honestly, just let him go through it, and if you don't jump ahead and interrupt him and make it hard for him to answer, he will be able to answer in a way that...
I'm listening.
You're not listening. You're
he did interrupt my question before, which is highly unusual for an official to do, but yep, I'm listening.
Senator, the average total development cost for a home that's funded in the HAF program so far, and obviously round 3 has only just opened, is $690,000. When you think in today's terms about the value of the concessional loan contribution and the availability payment contribution, in today's terms, that adds up to $535,000.
How much?
So the right comparison to make, Senator, is between the total development cost of $690,000 plus the operational costs of maintaining that building for 25 years and providing a rent discount for social housing renters. That is compared against $535,000.
Well, you're missing one thing there, aren't you?
Which is what?
The subsidy that you pay investors, which is the availability payment. So how much is a subsidy on the average HAF build?
Senator, the subsidy...
Are you not doing subsidies anymore?
The availability payments, first of all, they go to a charity.
Yeah.
Right. So,
in conjunction with investors. Come on.
Sorry?
Come on. They're in conjunction with investors in many cases.
So I believe the government's policy settings are that it's a good thing for private investors to be involved in developing social and affordable housing in the country, and that is a good way of getting value for money out of limited government resources, crowding in people who want to lend money to community housing providers at reasonable rates, and making sure that all of the Australian financial system is leaning into the challenge of social and affordable housing.
I can tell you, Mr. Rimmer, that the company called Assemble, which the Housing Fund has given $2.2 billion to, is not a charity. It's owned by HESTA and AustralianSuper. So it is not a charity, and you are paying... You're not, but you want to answer these questions, but your fund is paying them a subsidy of some form. So I'm wondering, what's the average subsidy that goes to investors? Well, because legally they can't invest unless they're getting a decent return. So if you go back and look at what Treasurer Chalmers said, the whole point of this scheme was to subsidise the difference in the return. Yes. So I'm asking you, how much public money are you giving to these big investors to make it worth their while?
Well, the official will answer that question in a moment.
Okay.
Can I take it from this exchange that we've dispensed with the first part of the misinformation, right, which is your claim that you have made repeatedly in here and outside that these homes are very expensive to build and cost $1 million to build, when that is in fact not the case.
Are you asking me questions now?
The average total cost
for
the Commonwealth for the development and operation and maintenance of a HAF home over 25 years is $535,000. That includes an upfront contribution towards the building of the home, only $170,000, like much lower than the cost of a new build. Includes a Commonwealth contribution to operating costs, $365,000 per home. So if we can dispense with that piece of misinformation, then we get to the part that we disagree about, and that's okay. I don't mind disagreement. The Commonwealth government is intervening in the market to build homes. That's what's going on, and the way that capitalism works is people want to make a return. People want to make a return, and they're making a return, and that's a good thing because more houses get built and more ordinary people get into homes. And now I'll let the official answer their question about what
As I said before,
what the
you're a
rate
very
of
generous
return is.
king, very generous benefactor.
Well, you want to stop spreading misinformation about this program and actually honestly deal with the difference.
Well, I want to know how much you're giving the super funds to buy these houses.
Well, you're about to find out if you listen.
I'm listening.
Okay. And we're at 10 minutes. I'll rotate the call after this.
Okay.
Senator Bragg.
Sure. Well, we're all waiting with bated breath. This is going to be a very important answer.
Senator, the eligible funding recipients do not include superannuation funds. What I can take on notice, I'm happy to give you, because I understand you want to get to a better answer, is the availability payments, which provide for a range of things, and we do publish that information. We can make that available in terms of how much is going to a project. We don't have a component of the availability payment that is specifically named in the contract as going to an investor.
Well, sorry, Chair, I just need to check. So, sorry, who owns Assemble?
Well, so, Senator, the eligible funding recipient is not Assemble.
Who is it then?
I'd have to check and take on notice the actual entity name.
So they're getting no money?
No, Senator, what I've said is that the eligible funding recipient, and my recollection is that it's a charitable entity that is a community housing provider, and they have borrowed funds from the entity you refer to.
Which is owned by who?
I think that's public information, Senator, in terms of the Assemble being owned by superannuation funds.
So it's a shell company. It's a shell.
Which is responding directly to the policy instruction we've got.
Very
I'm going to
murky.
rotate the call. Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Chair. I'll try to be brief.
Thank you.
I'm going through a
I'd much
list of
appreciate that.
short questions, I think.